This is an important one, so the next presentation topic will be about innovative AP-based enhancement at LeanIX. So managing an enterprise architecture function is, with thousands of applications, required high operational efficiency, supported by a strong tool. To get the most out of LeanIX, Fresenius has actually built intensive add-ons and enhancements. Some of them we're going to present actually then today. So those enhancements and add-ons, they include like news feed application, custom notifications, Excel integration via get and transform, formerly known as Power Query, automated daily snapshots and survey downloads, Ruby interface to navigate and operate on the full LeanIX meta model. And it's all going to be presented by Thomas Schreiner. Thomas Schreiner is responsible for enterprise architecture management at Fresenius Netcare, the IT service provider of the healthcare group Fresenius. Before actually taking over of the EAM function in 2017, he was managing several architecture transformation within Fresenius. Prior to joining the company, Thomas was also working for SAP in various projects and departments, mostly involved in architecture and project management functions. So please give us a big hand for Thomas Schreiner. Thomas, your stage.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Chris. I don't need to introduce myself, thanks to your introduction. So I'm very happy to be here today and to give you a little insight into what we do at Fresenius, and hopefully you'll get some inspiration on how you can get a little more out of LeanIX yourself. And at the end of the talk, we'll have a few minutes for questions. So Fresenius, I assume that a few of you already know what we do or have at least a vague idea about it. If you've heard the name Fresenius before, then the chances are quite high that you read it on a bottle of mineral water or on a jar of Nutella, the chocolate spread, where it says, this product has been quality tested by Institut Fresenius. Now, this is not us. This is the other Fresenius. We are a healthcare group with 4 segments. Fresenius Medical Care, dealing with products and services for dialysis patients. We have Fresenius Kabi in the product areas of infusion, transfusion, and clinical nutrition. Then we have Helios, Europe's biggest private hospital operator, and also Vamed, who are doing projects and services for different kinds of healthcare facilities. Before we get started with EAM, let's take a quick look into one of the things that we are doing really well in our group. So this is a dialysis filter. It's basically an artificial kidney. And it consists of thousands of little fibers that you can see in there in the middle. And now let's look into one of those dialysis filters. And this is what it looks like on the inside. It has this huge amount of fibers, and they're only like 200 micrometers in diameter, and they provide hundreds of thousands of dialysis patients every year a better quality of life. And there's also another thing that we try to do really well, and this is not a dialyzer. It's one of our enterprise architecture visualizations, our interface circle map with 2,500 applications. And in a slightly different sense, our EAM function is also helping us helping our own employees to make our life a little bit easier. So how do we do that? Let's first look at a few facts of our own group. The context in which we are doing enterprise architecture management is quite complex. Fresenius is a group with 2 companies listed in the DAX, the German stock index, which is Fresenius SE, our holding, and Fresenius Medical Care with a separate management board. And Fresenius Netcare is the internal IT provider with a full portfolio from data center to IT strategy. So basically we do everything, and we do it on a pretty large scale. The group itself has 280,000 employees, and Netcare has roughly 1,000 employees distributed across 50 locations, serving all time zones around the globe. And to manage an enterprise architecture function in this context with thousands of applications and almost 3,000 legal entities, we need a high operational efficiency that is supported by a strong tool. We have introduced LeanIX 2 years ago, and to get the most out of it, we have built our own add-ons and enhancements. So let's look right into it. One thing that we get quite a lot is some people asking us for a very specific report, usually in Microsoft Excel. And of course, they're always asking for things that you cannot do in standard LeanIX, like, can you give me a list of all our legal entities, but only in Fresenius SE and Fresenius Kabi? I need to have them clustered by country, and I want to have the number of each entity's global applications and the local applications, and the ratio of global versus local, and I also want to have the application names with that. So this is a real request. We really received that. It's true. So basically it looks like this. So the result is quite simple, but the structure, how it is built, is rather complex. So what did we do, or what do we do if we receive those requests? We had to take a decision at some point. Either we build the functionality for our end users so that they can build such reports, or we take it as a key capability that we build inside the EAM team. And whenever we receive such a request, we build it as a service for our users. And we've seen it in the past that our end users come to us even if they have very simple questions, like I need an application list. So the decision was taken quite quickly. We will build it as a service within the EA department. We will specialize to do those kinds of things. But as a consequence, it means that we need to create those reports really, really quickly, because we need to scale in the team. This is a function that we should not spend too much time on, because we need to scale, and we need to focus on those activities that provide value to the organization, and not just creating reports. So we figured out that we need a core module, we called it LeanIX Core, that enables us to quickly build additional functionality on top of it. It had to be integrated into the script languages that we use in our daily life, which is Ruby and Python. It had to access the whole LeanIX meta model and also call API functions. And one of our basic paradigms was, don't think about the API. So don't let the user think about the LeanIX API. This all needs to happen under the cover. So on top of this module called LeanIX Core, you can then build a report that will load data, process data, write report, but not deal with all the things that have to go on under the cover, like authentication, proxy settings, paging, caching, logging, debugging, etc. All those things that are completely hidden from the person writing this report. And one thing that I would like to add before I show you the details, the most important goal is for us in the EAM team to minimize the time to value. This thing has to be really, really fast. I know that our solutions are most likely not going to win a beauty contest, but building things on top of it is really fast. So what you see in the corner here, don't try to read it, is exactly is a report that is producing exactly this format that we saw before. It's less than 25 lines. The main loop is just 5 lines, so the rest is more or less handling the output file. And the question is, why is it so short? Why can you write a report in less than 25 lines? And the answer is because we've built a lot of additional helper functions that make it easy to access the core functionality. So for one, to load data, to load all applications in your script, it's just application.all. To load the user groups, it's usergroups.all, and you can work with it. Navigating the meta model, like if I want to get the applications that are related to one certain user group, it's just usergroup.applications, and you get all of the applications. Or additional functions for tagging attributes, custom functions. Like if you want to check if a certain tag is present, you can just check if the tag array includes a certain tag. Like in this case, the tag group is called segment. The tag itself is Fresenius Kabi. Or another function where you can access the country part of the location of a certain user group, which is not possible in standard LeanIX. In this case, you can just access it via an array function. Or also an additional function that we implemented ourselves, a custom function, to check if an application is global or not, where in the background it's doing some logic about the subscription to check whether the global team is responsible or not. It's just one single line to access those functions. So in fact, we have everything that we need to produce this output right here. We have the country, we have the legal entity, the numbers, it's just done by a ratio. So it's already there, less than 25 lines to create such a thing. Another scenario that we get quite a lot is a request for ad hoc analysis that we can just simply do via a console. And I picked one of the typical examples. The question is, in this case, which application is used by most legal entities? So what's the application with the highest legal entity count in all of LeanIX? And this is something that we basically implemented the very same way than we did it with the other one. Again, we're building on top of LeanIX Core, but this case, we're not building a report on top of it. We're integrating LeanIX Core into a terminal, into a console where you can just type commands and get the answer immediately. This is something that I would like to show you real quick because it's quite easy. Oh, no, if I move it right here, you cannot see what I'm typing. So how do I do it? Yeah, I'll just try. I'll just move it here. This is our console. I'll just, can you read that actually? No, it's too small for being able to read it. No, or can you read it? Okay, I'll just go on. I'll tell you later on. So in this case, we'll just look for the application of all applications, and we'll get the maximum by, and we'll do that by a function. In this case, the function that I will be using for each application is application.usergroups.size. And that's just that one. Let's just see if that works. So for the application, now I want to see the display name. Yeah, so it found an application called Global Trade. Let's just see what count of user groups it has. Usergroups.size. You can see it found an application that has 245 user groups in our training environment. So that's basically how we do it. You just type some commands, get analysis results real quick, and that helps us a lot to answer concrete questions, like somebody is coming to us and say, look, I need something, can you just help me? And we'll just type it in the console. Now there are a couple of more use cases for LeanIX Core, and I'm not going to show all of them. We have built an array synchronization where we're syncing processes from arrays to LeanIX. We have built a custom Excel import where we basically can import any random formats from Excel to LeanIX and create the fact sheets. But we've also built a thing that we called custom notifications. Now, to understand the context, you need to understand that for us in Fresenius, user experience is everything. In the EAM tool selection, the user experience has been one of the main categories for rating the tools, and we really go all the way to make our users happy, since we depend on their cooperation. So if they are not happy with the tool or with the integration into the processes, then of course we don't get their data. And this is our core asset, getting data from all over the world. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to work. And especially for the QA processes that we're dealing with, it means that the users have to receive meaningful notifications and not just your quality seal broke, do something about it. So what do we ask from you? This is what we need to tell them. What is the easiest way for you to provide what we need? And this is all done within custom notifications. Every 6 months, we are sending an email to all of our users, and we're asking them to maintain their application list, to update their applications. And this one email that we send out twice a year only, this has to be perfect. There's no second chance to do it right. If the email is not clear, then people will ignore it. If it's too long, explaining too many things, then people will ignore it as well. They will not read it. So what did we do? We decided we need to send it to everybody in a specific subscription role, such as the application owner. We need to include LeanIX data and links in the email, otherwise people wouldn't be able to work with it, and the whole process needs to be fully automated, so no manual pre-processing in the enterprise architecture team. And once again, we're building on top of LeanIX Core, but this time we are implementing a LeanIX mailer that is using a mail template. So first it checks who will have to receive the notification, so who's subscribed in a certain role. Then it loads the content to be displayed in the email from LeanIX with live data. It replaces the template placeholders by this live information, and it's sending it out in a trusted way via our own SMTP server. And I'm not going to show you this one live. It's really boring. It's just sending this out to all the application contacts in a certain role. And what you see then is that you receive such an email where I address a user personally. I list all the fact sheets that they are subscribed to in one certain role, and they can click on the link to be taken to LeanIX directly where they maintain the data. I explained a little bit about the process, but not too much. I give some links about where they can find additional information, a tutorial, a video for having a look at what we expect them to do, and it's really quick and precise, so we got very good feedback when we introduced that. Let's move to another package. So this is not LeanIX Core anymore. This is LeanIX Utils. The company LeanIX is creating frequent backups of their customers' data that can be restored in case of a disaster. It's not just in the contract, they really do it. And I'm pretty sure that they do it. And I can tell you how I know this, because we've had to make use of it at some point. We had an unchecked mass import that deleted some relations, and we were able to restore the relations. That was all right, but the problem is that if we have a backup in an export file, then you don't have a backup of the attributes that are sitting on the relations. They're not contained in an export. They're only part of the full snapshot, and which means if you lose them, you either have a full snapshot or you call LeanIX support and they restored it. In this case, we called them, they restored it. Thanks, Christian. And it was quick, we were happy again, but we said to ourselves, let's not do that a second time. Next time we do it, we have a snapshot ourselves. And you know how it works, right? You go to the admin menu, go to export, you create the full snapshot, you wait until it's complete, you download it, and that's it. And we automated that. Every day at 5 a.m., our auto snapshot script starts a full snapshot. It monitors when the snapshot creation is complete. It downloads the snapshot, stores it to a local directory, and as a bonus, we also download all the survey runs because we realized that they are not even part of the full snapshot, so you have to download them on top of that. So they need to be backed up as well. And the output of the script, that's really boring, so I'm not going to show you live, but this is what we receive at 5 a.m. every morning, creating a snapshot, waiting until it's done, downloading it to a local store, and downloading all the surveys. Now the next one is one of my favorites. Who of you still remembers the old LeanIX version 3 newsfeed? Yeah, a few still remember it. And it was awesome, right? It had everything. It had all the details, like who was doing what, all the changes. You could see everything. Was great. I loved it. Who of you was at least a little bit sad when they found out it was not going to be part of Pathfinder? Well, that was the same for us. So let me show you something. I need to move that to the main screen. So we had a lot of discussions with customer success management, and then we decided we'll just build it ourselves. And we built it exactly the way that we want it to be. And this is the result. You can, make it a little bit bigger. It shows everything that's going on. You can switch workspaces at the very top. So this one is our demo workspace. You can select if you only want to see a certain type of fact sheet. So in this case, let's just see only what's going on in the processes, for example. You can also select in what interval you want to see the changes. You can search for entries live. So in this case, I want to see anything going on in sales. This one has sales activities. This one has as well. And in the main content, you can see when you were doing things, who was doing those things, what was going on. Like you can see some tagging going on, tags being added and deleted, relations being added and deleted, comments being changed. This one is the description being changed. This is an attribute of a relation where the description has changed, so it has everything. And we are working with this on a daily basis, and we really love it. And now let me show you one additional thing here. So let's just see what it looks like when a tag is being deleted. This one is a special one. Let's delete this tag. Now you can see that the regional ERP that I've just deleted is coming back at the top. But you can also see, which is quite surprising, that I deleted the tag and it has come back. It wasn't me. It was my colleague, who's right now sitting in another talk here at the EA conference. I assume she didn't do that personally. So what's going on here? And to explain this to you, I need to go to the next topic, which is auto-tagging and auto-subscribing. Applications are auto-tagged with the segment tags of their user groups. And the segment tags are, for example, Fresenius Medical Care, Netcare, Cavi, which makes it very easy to analyze it because you don't need to analyze based on the user groups. You can just analyze based on the applications. You don't need to go the detour via the user groups. So this is one of our rules. The system has discovered that I am deleting a tag which should be there, so it's immediately restoring it. It's a consistency thing. You don't have to take care about consistency. The system does it automatically. Now, there are more rules than just that one. The second rule is if a user is subscribed to a fact sheet as responsible or accountable, then the fact sheet is auto-tagged with the user's segment tag. So if it's a user of Fresenius Netcare, then the application is also tagged as Fresenius Netcare. The third rule is if an interface or process is connected to an application, then the application is also auto-tagged with the segment tag of the interface or the process, which means that if the application is relevant for a process or an interface, then of course this application is also relevant for the segment that is using the process or the interface. So basically it's a system of inheriting tags from other fact sheets, which again is helping consistency. The fourth rule is not that much related to tagging, but on creating a fact sheet, the creating user is auto-subscribed to the fact sheet as responsible, which helps us tremendously to reduce the number of orphaned fact sheets. Because if you create something, you can create it very quickly, but nobody will care about it anymore. If you create it and you know that you're responsible for what you are creating, it helps us a lot to run all the QA processes, because then you know who to contact, and you can always ask them, like, why did you create this? What's going on there? Are you the owner, etc. Now, how do we do that? From every workspace, we receive signals via the fact sheet updated event. We're doing this via a webhook. And we are hosting this little event engine that is sitting in our own virtual machine for enterprise architecture management, where the rules are handled and actions are triggered. And actions can be either API calls going back to the workspaces, or it can also be mail notifications. And this one is very helpful for us because we have some people who very covertly want to remove themselves from their subscriptions, saying, I'm not the one responsible for this anymore, I'm going to remove myself. What they don't know is we are getting notified if they're doing it. So we can contact them and we can ask them directly, like, why did you remove yourself? Is there maybe another contact that should replace you? So again, this one is helping us to guarantee that the quality, that the data quality is kept at a high level. Then we have a last scenario, bonus scenario here. A problem for us was that we have some data collection sheets in Excel, which we are using to collect data from all over the world. And this data is loaded into LeanIX, and we're doing that, for example, for application lists. Now, those application lists, they need to be filled with the application name, with the subscriptions, etc., but also with the application's operating system, which is an IT component. So ideally, what we would like to have is a selection mask that allows us, like a drop-down list in Excel, that allows us to select the operating system as an IT component from within LeanIX. And the problem that we had in the past was that it was always running out of sync. Like you had this data collection Excel, and you always had to take care that it's in sync with LeanIX, copying the lists back and forth, or doing an export again. So how we solved it is Excel has this very nice functionality called Power, or it used to be called Power Query. Now it's called Excel Get and Transform. And with this one, you can use external data sources. And as external data sources, you can use any API. So for example, the LeanIX GraphQL API. And that's what we used in there. You can add a custom query to load the fact sheet information. You can use any GraphQL query that you like, just filter for tags, or in this case, we're using operating systems for that, and that makes it very easy to update that. You just right-click on the table, press refresh, and it will load it directly from LeanIX. It will do the authentication in the background, and your data collection list is always up to date. There is one more topic on our roadmap, which we've not yet completed, and honestly, I'm not sure if we're ever going to complete it because it's quite complex. Our quality management department is very keen on not only having the quality seal set, but also having real electronic signatures that are proving that the owner of a certain fact sheet was quality assuring or confirming the state of quality assuring of a fact sheet at a certain point of time with some context. And we tried to discuss with them, and it went a couple of iterations, but it turns out they didn't accept the quality seal. So right now we're trying to implement something. We'll see where it takes us, but at the moment it looks quite promising. But this is due to the fact that we're in a highly validated environment. We have GXP requirements. We are being audited by the FDA, the American basically pharma authority, and so we really need to make sure that we are complying with the regulations there. Now I'm at the end of my talk, but before we go to the questions, let me answer the first one right now. Yes, we have published some of those solutions on GitHub, not LeanIX Core, but LeanIX Utils. So the newsfeed and the auto snapshot are on there. They are published under the MIT license, and if you want to get in touch and discuss, then feel free to contact me either by email or via Xing or LinkedIn. Thank you very much.